Who decided that December has to be about family gatherings? Who determined that we need to exchange gifts? Who made the rule that we have to be filled with joy and gratitude and warm, fuzzy feelings? I'll tell you who. The people who probably aren't dealing with grief, trauma, financial stress, family dysfunction, or any of the million other things that make the holidays complicated for so many people. Welcome to the Kindness Extremist podcast. I'm your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. I've spoken to tens of thousands of people all over the world about the importance of kindness. And I am obsessed with how we can bring more kindness into our daily lives and restore balance to a deeply unbalanced world. Every episode, I'll give you 3 practical strategies to create a kinder world, and I'll do it in 30 minutes or less. No fluff, just valuable, actionable content that you can implement in your life immediately after listening to help you actively create a kinder world. There's no time to waste. Let's dive in. What's up, my friend? Welcome back to episode 36 of the Kindness Extremist podcast. I'm your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa. Real talk, I almost didn't record this episode. Not because I don't think it's important. To be clear, it's very important. But just because I know how loaded this topic is. The holidays, y'all. Just saying those 2 words, the holidays, can make some people's blood pressure spike. And before we dive in, let me be crystal clear about something. If you're someone who absolutely loves the holidays, if you already got your decorations up, your matching family pajamas ordered, and your hot chocolate recipe perfected, that's beautiful. I'm genuinely happy for you, and I mean that sincerely. This episode isn't about ruining your joy or suggesting that there's something wrong with loving this time of year, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all. This episode is about raising awareness that everyone might not love the holidays. So yes, this episode is for the folks who hear the most wonderful time of the year and they think to themselves, huh? Says who? This is for those of you who feel like you're wearing a mask from November through January, pretending to feel something that you don't. This is for everyone who's ever hidden in a bathroom during a holiday party just to get 5 minutes of peace. If that's you, I see you. I am you sometimes. Look, I'm going to keep it 100 on this podcast. I have a very complicated relationship with the holidays. Some years I'm all in. Other years I'd rather treat December 25th like any other Wednesday and just keep it moving. And for the longest time, I thought something was wrong with me for feeling that way. The pressure to be merry and bright when you're feeling anything but merry or bright can be absolutely suffocating. It's like the whole world becomes this performative happiness factory, and if you're not churning out joy at the required rate, you're somehow broken or ungrateful, or my personal favorite accusation, you're ruining it for everyone else. So here's what I learned about this though. Protecting your mental health during the holidays isn't selfish. It's not being a Grinch. It's not being difficult. It's being human. So today we're going to talk about 3 powerful strategies for navigating the holiday season when you're just not feeling it. And I promise you, none of them involve fake smiling your way through another uncomfortable gathering or pretending that your dysfunctional family dynamics don't exist. There's so much to dive into, my friend. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with what might be the most radical act of self-care during the holiday season. Giving yourself permission to opt out selectively or entirely. I need to tell you a story about my friend. We'll call her Jackie. Jackie, like most people, spent most of her adult life attending every single holiday event she was invited to. Work parties, family gatherings, friend celebrations, neighborhood cookie exchanges, you name it. She was there with bells on. Yes, literally. One year she wore an ugly sweater with actual bells on it. By the time January rolled around each year, Jackie was exhausted, broke, and honestly resentful. She gained weight from stress eating at events she didn't want to attend, spent money she didn't have on gifts for people she barely even knew, and sacrificed her peace of mind on the altar of other people's expectations. Then a few years ago, Jackie's therapist asked her a simple question that changed everything. So, what would happen if you just didn't go? Jackie's response? People would be disappointed. And the therapist follow up. And then what? That and then what sat with Jackie for days, because the truth was, nothing catastrophic would happen. The world wouldn't end. People might be momentarily disappointed, but they'd move on. The party would continue without her. Life would go on. So that year, Jackie attended exactly 3 holiday events. Her best friend's small dinner party, her nephew's school concert, and a volunteer shift at a local shelter that actually brought her joy. She declined everything else with a simple, I won't be able to make it, but thank you for thinking of me. You know what happened? Some people were surprised. A few people were disappointed. One uncle made a passive-aggressive comment. And Jackie? She had the most peaceful, restorative holiday season she'd experienced in over a decade. So here's what I need you to understand. You don't owe anyone your presence at the expense of your mental health. Full stop. I don't care if it's your mother's party, your boss's gathering, or your best friend's annual whatever. Your mental and emotional well-being matter more than trying to chase an imaginary perfect attendance award at holiday events. Now, I'm not saying you should ghost everyone and become a hermit from Thanksgiving to New Year's. What I am saying is that you get to be intentional about where you spend your time and energy. Let's talk about how you actually do this, because some of you are thinking, that sounds great, Shola, but you don't know my family, you don't know my situation. Okay, first, you need to understand the difference between can't and won't. Most of the times when we say we can't miss something, what we're really saying is that we won't want to deal with the consequences of missing it. And look, sometimes those consequences feel too heavy to bear. I get it. But at least let's be honest about what we're choosing. Second, if you're going to opt out entirely, you need to create what I call an escape route strategy. This means having a plan for how you'll handle the pressure, the questions, and yes, the guilt trips. Here are some phrases that have saved my sanity over the years. I won't be able to make it, but I hope you have a wonderful time. Or, we're keeping things low key this year. Or, that doesn't work for us, but thank you for the invitation. Notice what's missing from all those responses? Explanations, justifications, apologies. You don't need to explain why you're not coming. You don't need to justify your decision. You definitely don't need to apologize for protecting your peace. Still though, I get it. You might be thinking, but Shola, what if you can't opt out entirely? What if there's some obligations that you genuinely can't avoid? That's where partial opting out comes in. Maybe you go to the family dinner but skip the after party. Maybe you just show up for the first hour but leave before things get messy. Maybe you attend in person this year but let everyone know you'll be traveling next year, even if you're just traveling to your couch. I have a buddy who perfected what he calls the strategic appearance. He shows up exactly 1 hour after events start, missing the whole awkward beginning, stays for like 90 minutes, long enough to be seen and have a few conversations, and then he leaves before things get too intense. He's pleasant, he's present, and then he's gone. Genius. Now here's our first practical kindness strategy of the episode. This week, look at your holiday calendar and identify one event, just one, that you can decline or modify. Maybe it's that work party you dread. Maybe it's the extended family gathering where you always end up in tears. Maybe it's a cookie exchange that stresses you out more than it brings you joy. Choose one thing and practice opting out. If you can't skip it entirely, can you arrive later? Leave earlier? Attend virtually instead of in person? Here's the key. Once you make this decision, don't second guess yourself. Don't apologize 17 times. Don't over-explain. Just make your choice and stick with it. Remember, every time you say no to something that depletes you, you're saying yes to something that restores you. That's not selfish, my friend. That is survival. Now, let's talk about something that might be even more radical than opting out. Completely redefining what the season means for you. Do you know what drives me absolutely bonkers? The assumption that there's only one right way to do the holidays. Like there's some universal holiday handbook we're all supposed to follow, and if we deviate from it, we're somehow doing the holidays wrong. Who decided that December has to be about family gatherings? Who determined that we need to exchange gifts? Who made the rule that we have to be filled with joy and gratitude and warm, fuzzy feelings? I'll tell you who. The people who probably aren't dealing with grief, trauma, financial stress, family dysfunction, or any of the million other things that make the holidays complicated for so many people. So you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm about to say the most controversial thing that I've ever said on this podcast. So steel yourself, my friends. I think it's time to throw the whole traditional holiday playbook out the window. Yeah, I said it. In many cases, the tried and true holiday traditions are causing more pain than joy. So my friend, if you're listening to my words and the holidays have been historically a difficult time for you, it makes sense to take a beat starting today and thoughtfully decide if these traditions are serving you. For example, if you're divorced and managing split custody of the kids, instead of trying to recreate some Pinterest perfect holiday experience, you could create something entirely new. One of my dear friends who was recently divorced decided on Christmas Day, while everyone else is doing their family thing, him and his kids would enjoy a Marvel movie marathon. They ate Chinese takeout. They stay in their pajamas all day. They made 0 attempts at traditional anything. You know what? It was perfect. Not perfect in the Hallmark movie way, but perfect for them in that moment with everything that they were dealing with. Since hearing that story, it made me think that more people need to give themselves permission to redefine the holidays based on what they need, not what's expected. Maybe that means volunteering at a shelter because service helps you feel connected to something bigger. Maybe it means booking a trip somewhere warm where no one knows it's the holidays. And yes, maybe it means participating in traditional celebrations because that's what feels right for you. The point is, you should get to choose how to celebrate the holidays. You should get to choose how you create your own meaning. Maybe for you, the holidays become about catching up on rest and restoration after a brutal year, or binge watching your favorite shows without guilt, or finally reading those books that have been sitting on your nightstand for the past year, or taking long walks in nature while everyone else is shopping, or having deep conversations with one or two people who really, really get you, or creating art, or writing, or working on that project that you never have time for, or maybe it's all nothing at all. Maybe it's just Tuesday to you. I don't know. And that's completely fine. I have a friend who treats the entire holiday season as her personal spiritual retreat. She doesn't attend any gatherings. She doesn't buy any gifts. She doesn't decorate. Instead, she spends her time journaling, meditating, and doing that deep inner work. Sure, her family thinks that she's lost her mind, but she's never been happier or more at peace. Another one of my friends uses the holidays as her personal annual relationship audit. While everyone else is frantically socializing and shopping, she's thoughtfully evaluating which relationships serve her and which ones drain her. And by January, she's clear on where to invest her time and energy in the coming year. Here's what's wild. Once you give yourself permission to redefine the holidays, you might discover that you actually enjoy some traditional elements, but on your own terms. Maybe you hate obligatory gift giving, but you love the idea of writing heartfelt letters to people who've impacted your life. Maybe you can't stand large gatherings, but you genuinely enjoy intimate conversations over coffee with select friends. Maybe traditional decorations stress you out, but creating your own weird, non-traditional version brings you joy. The key, again, my friend, is choice. When you're choosing rather than conforming, everything changes. Here's your second practical kindness strategy of the episode. This week, I want you to write down what an ideal holiday season would look like if you had zero obligations and unlimited permission to do whatever you wanted. Don't censor yourself. Don't worry about being realistic. Just dream. Would you travel? Stay home? Volunteer? Work on a project? Sleep for 3 days straight? Learn a new skill? Binge watch every season of your favorite show? Write it all down. And then look at your list. Identify just one element, just one, that you can actually incorporate into your holiday season this year. Maybe you can't take a 2-week solo trip to Bali. I would love to do that. But you can maybe take a solo trip somewhere peaceful. Maybe you can't skip all gift giving, but you can opt out of Secret Santa at work. Maybe you can't avoid all gatherings, but you can schedule a full day of complete solitude to balance things out. The goal isn't to completely revolutionize your holidays overnight. It's to start reclaiming some agency over how you spend your holiday time this year. Hey, fellow kindness extremists, it's me, Shola. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're mowing what I'm growing, if you're smelling what I'm stepping in. Okay, I'll stop. If you're enjoying what you're listening to so far, I would love it if you would take a moment to hit the subscribe button and leave a rating and a review. Those incredibly kind acts go so far in helping me to reach as many people as possible who will join the movement to actively create a kinder world. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Okay, let's get back to the episode. All right, let's talk about the third strategy. And this one might be the most important. Finding and maintaining connection with people who actually get it. You know what's exhausting? Pretending to be fine when you're not. Performing happiness for people who can't handle your truth. Being surrounded by people, but feeling completely alone because nobody understands what you're really going through. The holidays can be the loneliest time of year, even when, and especially, and ironically when, you're surrounded by people. I'll never forget one Christmas party where I had never felt more isolated in my life. Everyone was laughing, sharing stories, and I was sitting there thinking about my dad, who I lost earlier that year to cancer, trying not to cry into my drink. When I finally worked up the courage to mention that I was struggling with grief, you know what happened? The entire room went silent, and then someone awkwardly changed the subject to basketball, and everyone gratefully jumped on that conversational life raft. In that moment, the message was clear. It's the holiday, Shola. Keep your sob stories to yourself, get in the spirit, and put your smiley face mask back on. That's when I realized I needed to find my people. Not the people related to me by blood or obligated to me by circumstance, but the people who could hold space for the full spectrum of human emotions, especially during the holidays. These are what I call your holiday reality friends. These are the people you can text at 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve when you're having a breakdown in your car. These are the people who understand when you say, I hate this time of year, without trying to fix you or convince you otherwise. Finding these people isn't always easy, but they're always out there. Sometimes they're in unexpected places. Maybe it's the coworker who also comes from a dysfunctional family, or maybe it's someone from your grief support group, or maybe it's an online community of people dealing with similar struggles. Maybe it's a therapist who offers holiday crisis sessions. Maybe it's that one cousin who's also the black sheep of the family. I have a friend group that we jokingly call the holiday refugees because we're all people for various reasons who find the holidays a little bit challenging. Some of us have lost loved ones. Some come from toxic families. Some are dealing with mental health challenges. Some just don't vibe with the whole holiday industrial complex. Every year we have what we call like these refugee check-ins throughout the season. These aren't parties or celebrations, they're just check-ins. Sometimes it's just a group text where everyone shares how they're really doing. Sometimes it's a Zoom call where we just vent for an hour. There's no pressure to be festive, no toxic positivity, no judgment, no pressure to be anything but exactly who we are in this moment. Just real, honest human connection. That's what you need to find or create for yourself if you find the holidays to be challenging. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But Shola, I don't have anyone like that. I'm completely alone in this. First of all, you are not as alone as you think. I promise you. There are literally millions of people struggling through the holidays just like you are. They're just hiding it really well because we've all been conditioned to believe that not loving the holidays makes us defective somehow. Second, if you don't have those people in your life yet, this is your sign to start looking for them. And with all the online communities and support groups available, you have more options than ever. There are online support groups specifically for people dealing with grief during the holidays. There are forums for people from dysfunctional families. There are virtual meetups and therapy groups for holiday depression and anxiety. There are even apps out there on your phone designed to connect people who are struggling with similar issues. But here's the thing, my friend. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. Someone's got to get on the dance floor first before the party starts, right? You have to be willing to admit that you're struggling. You have to be willing to reach out. And yeah, I know that's hard. Trust me, I know, I get it. But the alternative, white knuckling your way through the holidays in isolation, is so much harder. So here's your third practical kindness strategy of the episode. This week, I want you to identify one person, one community where you can be real about your holiday feelings. If you already have someone like this in your life, reach out to them. Set up a check-in schedule for the holiday season. Maybe it's a weekly text or a bi-weekly call, or just knowing you can reach out when things get tough. If you don't have someone like this, take one small step forward to find them. Just join one online support group. Reach out to one person you suspect might also struggle with the holidays. Schedule one therapy session. Make one connection, however small. And here's a pro tip. Sometimes the best way to find your people is to be the first one to be honest. When someone asks how you're doing this holiday season, try answering honestly. Not in a trauma dumping way, but just honestly. For example, you could just say, actually, the holidays are tough for me since my mom died. Or, to be honest, this time of year is overwhelming for me. Or, I'm doing my best, but the holidays bring up a lot for me. You'd be shocked at how often this kind of honesty gives other people permission to drop their mask too. All right, my friend, let's recap what we covered today. First, you have complete permission to opt out of holiday events that drain you, selectively or entirely. Your presence is not required at the expense of your mental health. Create your escape routes, practice your polite declines, and protect your peace without apology. Second, you get to redefine what the season means for you. Throw out the traditional playbook if it doesn't serve you. Create your own meaning, your own traditions, or no traditions at all. The holidays can be whatever you need them to be. And third, find and maintain connection with people who get it. Stop performing happiness for people who can't handle your truth. Find your holiday reality friends, the ones who can hold space for whatever you're actually feeling. Look, I know this episode might feel like permission you didn't know you needed, right? Or maybe it feels like validation for a choice you've already been making but feeling guilty about. Either way, here's what I want you to remember. Protecting your mental health during the holidays isn't selfish. It's not weak. It's not wrong. It's an absolutely necessary act of self-kindness. You know, it's actually really unkind. Forcing yourself to participate in things that harm your well-being. Pretending to feel things that you actually don't feel. Sacrificing your mental health to maintain other people's comfort. That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment. Real kindness, the kind that we talk about here on this podcast, include being kind to yourself. Includes recognizing that your needs matter. It includes understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup, especially when everyone around you is demanding refills. So this holiday season, I'm giving you permission. Not that you need it from me, to be clear, but sometimes it helps to hear from someone else. I'm giving you permission to do whatever you need to do to protect your peace. Skip the party, redefine the tradition, find your people, take the trip, stay in bed, volunteer, don't volunteer, celebrate, don't celebrate, whatever the hell you need. And if anyone gives you grief about it, you can tell them that Brother Teresa said that was okay. I'll take the heat for you. Remember, the most radical act of kindness that you can perform this holiday season might just be the kindness that you show to yourself. Because when you honor your own needs, when you protect your own mental health, when you show up as your authentic self rather than performing a role, you're not just taking care of yourself. You're also giving everyone around you the permission to do the same. And in a world full of people desperately pretending to be fine, that kind of radical honesty, that kind of self-compassion, that's revolutionary. So please, my friend, go forth and be revolutionary. The world needs more people who are willing to be real, especially during the times where everyone else is performing. This is your host, Shola Richards, aka Brother Teresa, and you now know that kindness can't be weak because you just experienced the strength of the Kindness Extremist podcast. Until next time, my friend, the journey to a kinder world continues. Thank you for listening to the Kindness Extremist podcast. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I have one favor to ask of you. If you could kindly hit the subscribe button, leave a rating and a review, not only would that be incredibly kind, but by doing so, you're actively playing a role in growing this movement and ideally getting us one step closer to creating a kinder world. I hope to see you next week for another episode of the Kindness Extremist podcast. Bye for now.